Hey guys, OgreBarberian here, back for another in-depth look. And this time we're going to look at Batman, the Dark Knight. He is a very tanky character, going in the physical tank gear set. So he doesn't gain a whole lot of speed, but he does gain a whole lot of health. I think his max speed is 91, something like that, like gear 11. But he gains a ton of health and stamina. And in his kit, you'll find that he gets even tankier. So his basic attack, full armor beatdown, damage to an enemy, 60% damage if target is taunting, and this conditional damage does go up to 80%, as you can see. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but the bonus damage if they're taunting is good, and it'll play into some of the team comps that we'll create later on. So, the legendary for this gains 17% shield. And he already has a ton of health, so 17% shield is a lot. It is going to be really hard for your opponents to eat through all of the different ways that Batman has that he can just keep increasing his health and shield and whatever else. So he gets really hard to take down. And then his equalizer. Light damage to an enemy, purge all positive immunities and taunts, and one buff. And the purge cannot miss, and you actually do get to purge up to 4 buffs when you upgrade this. So definitely worthwhile. The legendary for it is stun the target if they are taunting. So he's really good at taking down taunters like Harley Quinn Mad Jester or Clayface or Power Girl, things like that. Stunning them is definitely a worthwhile upgrade. Very, very highly recommend the equalizer because that is his primary niche. He is going to be there to take out taunters for the most part. And then we have powered armor. Gain 27% shield and 2 affinity resist ups. And the shield does go up to 29, 32, 35, 40%. 40% shield. That's a lot of shield. And 4 affinity resistance ups. So the affinity resistance ups are going to make it so that characters who are already weak against him, of the physical variety, are going to do absolutely no damage whatsoever. I think if he uses this twice, or has the 4 affinity resistance ups, they're going to do like 100 damage or less. It gets kind of ridiculous how little damage they do. And then if he is shielded, the legendary for this, he'll also gain 7 mends. And this is an absolute monstrous way to make him sustain because his basic attack legendary gives him the shield, so he'll be able to use this, gain a bunch more shield, and those mends on top of it. So he's going to be an absolute nightmare to try and take down. So, definitely a worthwhile upgrade if you're going the tanky route. Contingency Plan is his first passive. If enemy taunts, meaning they actively use a taunt, not like Wonderwoman DOJ who passively taunts, or Power Girl's start of battle taunt. However, Harley Quinn Mad Jester's start of battle taunt actually uses her active taunt, so it does trigger this. So there's a difference there. He'll gain a bunch of meter and some shielding as well. And the meter goes up to 24, 27, 32% turn meter. 8, 10, 12, 15 shield. So, it's not small numbers that we're talking here. These are good numbers. He'll gain a lot of shield and meter out of this if your enemy has a lot of taunters. So if you go into a team and you see a DOJ, Harley Quinn, Power Girl, Clayface, you're going to get a ton of meter and just be blasting all over the place with this and getting huge amounts of shield. He's going to be really hard to take down for them. And then, of course, the legendary upgrade for this is also reduce the cooldown of Equalizer by 1. So it's definitely a worthwhile upgrade if you go the Equalizer route and you are using it primarily as your taunt destroyer. You definitely want those 2 upgrades. Whereas if you're using him more as a tank, you're going to want full armor beatdown and powered armor as your 2 upgrades. I highly recommend all 4 of them, but you pick the 2 together that you want him to specialize in. And then his second passive, A League Above. If shielded, 22% chance to silent targets Batman attacks. And this does go up, as you can see, to 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 35% chance to silence if he's shielded. And he's going to be shielded a lot if you have the legendary upgrades. So this will trigger. He will silence characters occasionally. Legendary for this, if shielded, critical hit chance plus 15%. And being a tank, he doesn't have a huge critical hit chance. So as long as he's shielded, getting the extra 15% crit will allow him to crit a lot more. It's just you're not really bringing him along for that. So it definitely your last upgrade, I think, at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and take a look at some team comps for him real quick. So we got your Justice League team comp here, and this team actually brings quite a bit of good control measures along for the ride. So you got Superman as your leader, and the reason you want him as your leader in this instance is mostly because if an ally gets crit, he'll taunt and hopefully gain death immunity and damage immunity and all that other good fun stuff that he brings along to the ride. And then he also has his purges on his I-beams. And then could possibly stun on his basic if you have that legendary upgrade. He'll self-sustain with his debuff clearing and healing if you have that upgrade. Wonderwoman, Champion of the Amazons, there to mainly grant strength up and turn meter to all four of these characters because they're all physical. And then additionally, she has the cannot miss AoE, which is nice. And then additionally, she can also call assists on her basic. And all of these guys have pretty good basic attacks, so definitely worthwhile there. And then Aquaman, of course, he'll bring his stun and bleeds to help you get through some of the more tanky characters. And he also gets the crit immunity, not resistance, crit immunity, if you really want to, and some turn meter. And then he can also make a substitute leader for Superman if you go against a more special damage team like Etrigan or characters like that. And then Batman, of course, to purge the taunts off and just be all around super tanky because the team is overall fairly tanky with Superman and Aquaman, but adding Batman in there also just adds that extra layer of more tanky. Good solid team overall. Second team we've got is Constantine, Killer Croc, Silver Banshee, and Batman TDK. And the idea with this one is that Constantine can apply taunt to Batman to protect Silver Banshee and Constantine a little bit more. And then you also got Killer Croc, that when he gets hit, he'll apply taunt to the enemy team, which in turn triggers Batman's equalizer to stun them. So you can play with that a little bit more. It does not, however, reduce the cooldown or grant him the meter up because Killer Croc's passive would not proc Batman's passive. But it is a fun little interaction there that if you can get equalizer running up a little bit faster, that's always nice. And Silver Banshee's along the ride for the additional heal immunity and stuff that you might need. She's just a fun character overall. And the last one I got for you, we got Medfill, Poison Ivy, Batman, World's Greatest Detective, and Batman the Dark Knight. Now, I normally don't throw teams together that have multiples of the same character, like Batman and Batman, but I had to in this case because we were doing a TDK video, and Batman World's Greatest Detective just plays so well with the rest of this team that he just had to be in there. World's Greatest Detective along for the ride so that he can reduce everybody's cooldown by 1 as they use their moves. Medfill can grant damage immunity to Batman TDK, while Ivy grants him the taunt, so that's really nifty. And he's already so tanky anyway that when the damage immunity does wear off, he's just going to be able to absorb so many hits anyway, so it doesn't really matter there. And then again, World's Greatest Detective reducing the cooldowns on those so that hopefully TDK will be taunting pretty much the entire time during this. And then Medfill is also going to grant some meter up and shields to everybody else as they take turns. So it'll help speed them up a little bit and make them a little bit more tanky, since Poison Ivy and TDK are not the fastest characters. They're pretty slow. And then World's Greatest Detective has a respectable speed, but him and Medfill around the same level, actually, I think. But overall, I like the team. Seems like it should do a lot of stuff. So, and you got some incidental healing off of Medfill's basic attack if you get around to using it ever. But he'll be there mostly to control the battle and use his strength downs. And World's Greatest Detective is there to purge off anything that you need to purge off, while Ivy is there to make sure Batman TDK stays taunting. So this team isn't going to do it quickly, but your opponent shouldn't be able to get through your wall, is kind of the idea. So, alright, that's all I got for you today. As always, leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Enjoy, and grind on.